Here at Abtech, we're always about protecting your investment. You just spent a good amount of money on a home backup system, and we want to make sure that it runs as long as it can. And that's why it's important to perform the annual maintenance necessary to keep your Generac operational when the power's out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a maintenance on a unit and show you the importance of why we do the maintenance, what it entails, from the oil change to the battery check to the system check, turning on the unit, making sure it's backing up the home. And that way you can be assured and rest assured that your generator, when the power goes out, does come on and backs up your home and keeps your family safe. Here at Abtech, we want to emphasize the importance of maintaining your generator every single year. No matter how many power outages you've had, no matter if the unit just ran in test, this unit is just like a lawnmower engine. It's just like your car engine. You have to maintain it. And here at Abtech, we're going to show you how that's done annually with this generator maintenance video. Without further ado, we're going to get started on performing an actual maintenance on this generator to show the customers exactly what we do in our detailed process. So I'm going to back away and Doug's going to get started, and he's going to go over start to finish what we do when we walk up to a generator at somebody's home. So go ahead and Doug and open up the front cover. So the first thing we do is you'll notice he's gonna open it up and he's gonna turn the generator on to warm up the motor. He's gonna check the oil first, smart. So now that Doug has let the motor run for probably about 4 or 5 minutes, we know that the unit is operational. That's the number one reason to do that is not just to warm the engine up so that the oil will drain, but to see if we have to start troubleshooting. So now we know that the engine runs, it sounds good, and now we're ready to perform our maintenance. And Doug, you're gonna go ahead and start and show them where we would drain the oil and how that process works, and then the other steps after that that he takes throughout the maintenance process.
So right now, I would take this hose here and put it into the oil container. Depending on how high the unit is, depends on which container we'll have to use to catch the oil. Most units typically take around 2 quarts. So Generac has their own formula for oil, which helps reduce condensation in the unit.
We use an oil pump to do this. At that time, once that's being accomplished, Doug will start working on the spark plugs, the oil filter, the air filter, checking all the other engine components, making sure that all the connections are secure. See, right now he's opening up the air filter compartment.
So to access the air cleaner, you take this clip off right here and just kind of pull it off. So we typically change these every year. So this is the filter that comes out of the unit. These filters could look brand new, but they're made out of paper. And after 1 year of being in the elements, the paper can degrade, and you wouldn't want anything like that getting inside the fuel system of your unit.
I want to emphasize one thing. Whether we installed your generator or not, we are happy to be your maintenance provider for your Generac. And with that being said, you need to understand that when we come out annually to perform a full maintenance on your generator, the technician is typically going to be there for at least an hour. And the reason it takes that long is that it's not just changing the spark plugs, it's not just changing the oil, it's not just looking at the air filter and changing that, it's cleaning the unit, it's checking all the electrical connections, checking the battery. We actually do a load test with the transfer switch and make sure the unit does back up the home. So whoever you hire, us or any other Generac provider, you need to ensure that they're going through the right steps in this process. And you know, our guys have to go through annual recertifications for everything that we do. And It's just really important to understand that to do a thorough maintenance on a generator, the customer, you should expect us to be there for about an hour.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove this spark plug cap, and then we'll remove the spark plug. So we typically replace the spark plugs every maintenance. By removing the spark plug, you could tell how the engine has been running by the color of the ash that is on the spark plug itself, and you could see that it's white, which means that it's been running very well.
It's extremely important, just like we talked about in the beginning of this video, you're not going to buy a vehicle and not maintain it. Don't invest in a home backup system and not maintain it. We've came up to units that are 3 and 4 years old that we didn't install, and they've never even been touched. And that's not a good thing. You wouldn't buy a lawnmower and cut your grass once a year. Don't buy a generator and not start it. So as you can see now, Doug's checking those spark plugs, making sure they're gapped properly. One thing I will say, a lot of customers go, well, I don't understand why you change the spark plugs every year, and I don't understand why you change the oil every year, and I don't understand. If we're gonna come do a maintenance on this unit every year, the cost of those items is pennies compared to the repair costs you would spend if you don't do those things. So that's why we just do it once a year, no matter what.
So the oil filter unscrews counterclockwise, and there's a seal that separates the oil filter from this housing, and as soon as that seal breaks, oil will typically drip down here, and then we discard the old oil filter and install a new one.
Let's say your generator ran for 40, 60 hours in a year, it could be low on oil, right? And that can create problems. The next thing that you need to think about is that if you're in an environment that is extremely dusty or dirty, there's trees around, that air filter can get clogged up and cause the motor not to start. So that's another problem. Battery, your battery voltage could be deteriorating, and it needs to be reading the correct reading, which Doug's gonna go into, to start the engine. So annual maintenance on your generator, even if it is 1 year or 2 years old, we've came across units that the battery went bad, right? We've came across units that the battery cabling went bad. All of our generators that we install come with a 10-year warranty, and the only thing that you pay for during those 10 years would be your annual maintenance and new batteries. Everything else is going to be 100% covered. So now Doug's going to get into the side compartment where all the electrical connections are, where the battery is. You know, it's not just an engine. We have a lot of electrical components within this generator, and keeping in mind that the computer in the generator is what tells the transfer switch to turn the power on. So when we're in this compartment, we're checking all those connections. We're making sure that nothing's came loose. We use a battery terminal coating to ensure that the battery terminals don't get corroded throughout the years. All of our maintenances and all of our generators that we maintain get a new battery every 3 years. A lot of customers are like, well, why do you do that? Well, because I've got a battery that's lasted 5 years and it's been fine. Well, would you rather know that your generator is going to kick on every single time because you have a good battery, or would you rather be stuck without power calling us an emergency situation and we come out there and the battery's dead? What Doug's doing right now is testing the battery and the charging system of the generator. It's extremely important to do that because the engine can run, everything else can be clean and look good, but if you don't have the electrical connections, then we're not going to back up power to the home. We're checking the charging system, we're checking the battery voltage, and we're ensuring that all electrical connections that are associated with the computer, the ECM in this generator, are secure so that if the power goes out, this generator will turn the transfer switch on to emergency power.
So first I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery so I can test the battery off of the unit itself. There's just 2 screws that go into the top of the battery. There's a little nut underneath. So then I would take my tester and connect it, and this will tell me how is the battery. The battery will typically have a label on it and let you know what cold cranking amps it's supposed to have, and then the tester will confirm that, and this one checks out fine. For safety reasons, when reinstalling the battery cables, we typically put the positive on first, and then we do the negative black cable last.
You'll see that he's gonna crank the engine. So I know this is a fairly new unit, so everything's normal, but right then you'd be able to find out whether or not that battery is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, so now that we've performed the full annual maintenance on your home standby Generac, Doug is going to put it back together before we perform an actual load test and ensure the generator does kick on in an emergency situation. So he's going to put together the generator, close it all up, button things up before he goes to the transfer switch and performs this test. Now, a really new thing that the Generac has came out with this year is the next gen Generac, not the old Guardian series, will perform a load test automatically throughout the year, which we set up for the customer every 3 months. But just because it's done that, and just because we've seen that on our remote monitoring system, doesn't necessarily mean it's actually working. So that's why it's important when somebody performs the maintenance on your generator to make sure they're testing that. A lot of customers will have us come out semi-annually so that they know that twice a year this generator is working. So we'll do a full maintenance once a year, and then that second time we'll come out and do the load test so that we're not there for a couple hours. So Doug's going to be heading over to the transfer switch now. He's going to make sure the unit is in auto. He's going to make sure it's out of service mode so that when he turns the power off, the generator kicks on. Other thing to take note of here is we set all of our generators for a 30-second delay. We want to make sure that the power is actually out. There's no surges in the power utility system. It gives that generator the time it needs to know, oh, the power is truly out. So now Doug's going to go to the transfer switch. He's going to open it up. The first thing he'll do is check electrical connections. We don't want to get inside this transfer switch and turn the power off before we make sure that everything looks as it's supposed to look. Once he's done that, he will turn the main breaker off in the transfer switch, and within 30 seconds, the generator should come on. What Doug's doing now is he's turned the transfer switch off. The generator has kicked on. We know the generator is running and it is backing up power to the home. Then we will turn the power back onto the house. The generator will then go from backing up the home into cool down mode and will run typically for about another minute. And then once it turns off, Doug will button everything up, and that basically finalizes our generator service at your home. Okay, so now you've seen the thorough process of a generator maintenance performed by Abtech Electrical Services. Whether we installed your generator or you have a current home backup system, we're the company for you. We have more certified techs in Southern Indiana than any other generator company. We're here for you. We're ready to help you with your generator maintenance needs. You call us today at 812-284-2359. You find us on our website at www.abtechelectric.com. We have Facebook, we have Instagram. We are here ready to help you with your home backup system, so when the storm comes or the power goes out, your home and your family are protected by an Abtech Generac.